So, if you are a woman who still wants to be in a relationship with a man, despite everything that we know about men, no shade, no shade, no shade, no shade, then I want you to follow these three rules, these three guidelines. These three rules and guidelines that I have are going to be an absolute game changer when it comes to navigating being in relationships with men, especially the early stages where vetting is the most important part of the process for you as a woman. We are living in a time right now that is extremely interesting, very, very interesting, very beautiful, very powerful. There are so many shifts that are happening when it comes to the relations and dynamics between the sexes, relationships, marriage, sex, all of these things are shifting so rapidly. And women are really leading the charge when it comes to this. And part of what is allowing women to have different experiences with men is the fact that our awareness and our consciousness is growing around male nature, male behavior, male depravity, and all of the ways in which we as women have been conditioned and propagandized by the system of patriarchy in order to essentially become vessels to be mined or siphoned from for the benefit of men and for the benefit of patriarchy. And so there are a number of different guidelines that I could offer you to follow when it comes to relationships, but these three to me are the most impactful ones that you can have. As I said before, these are game changers when it comes to navigating relationships with men because it will help you navigate and really avoid experiences with narcissists, with abusers, with users, with men who are coming into your life because they are seeking something from you. They're trying to extract from you. This is going to help protect you from the shapeshifters. It's going to help protect you from the fakers and the maskers, the men who pretend to be something that they're not. And what I will say as a disclaimer is that if you're going to have relationships with anyone, whether it's men, whether it's women, whether it's platonic, whether it is romantic, you're not going to be able to fully avoid heartbreak. You're not going to be able to fully avoid being disappointed or being let down. That's just the nature of being a human. That's the nature of relating with other people. That's the nature of being in relationships. And so I just want to make that clear and give this disclaimer before I start speaking on these guidelines so that you understand that these are things to help protect you, but ultimately humans are going to humans are going to do what they do, but having these guidelines in your toolkit are going to minimize the impact and they're going to minimize the severity of what you could be experiencing in relationships, especially with men. Because a lot of women are really going through it. Women are being abused, they're being mistreated, they're being used, women are being killed, women are being manipulated. There's so many negative things that women are experiencing in relationships. And a lot of it is because of poor standards, poor boundaries, and not having a real genuine understanding of how most men operate, how the majority of men operate. Are there really good, beautiful men out there that you wouldn't necessarily need these guidelines for? Absolutely. There are some incredible men out in the world who are doing beautiful work, who are tuned into their spirit and they're leading from their heart center and are approaching relationships with women with really good and pure intentions. But the majority of men are not on that frequency. They're not in that consciousness level yet. And so, as the consciousness level of men continues to rise through the raising of standards of women, then that will become these tactics and these guidelines will be needed less and less. But for now, this is what I want you to really understand. So, the first guideline for dating men, especially in the very, very beginning stages of dating, is never tell a man what you were looking for in a partner. Never tell a man what you were looking for in a partner. And the reason why you never tell a man what you're looking for in a partner is because essentially what you were doing is you were giving him a script to play out. You're giving him a character to embody. You're giving him a role to play. When men who are coming and approaching you without good intentions or who have no personality, who have nothing to offer you, who everything about them is something that they have siphoned or stolen from the previous women that they've been in relationships with, they're going to approach you and they're going to ask you, so what are you looking for in a man? Or what's your ideal partnership look like? Or, what's your dream relationship? They're going to ask you all of these questions. And you, on a surface level, you're going to hear this question and you're going to say, oh, well, he really wants to know what I like, or he wants to know what my vision is, because he wants to see whether or not we are aligned. And in some cases, that might be true. But for the majority of what you guys are going through, what's actually happening is he's asking you to give him the blueprint of who he needs to be in order for him to gain access to you. This is why men are asking this question of women. It's not because they actually care about your dreams or your goals or your desires or what type of relationship you want to have. It's because they want to know what is the most clear and direct pathway for me to have access to this woman. And fundamentally, that access that they're looking for is sexual access more than anything. That's the majority reason why men are pursuing you in the first place, is because they want to sleep with you. And they want to know, who do I need to be to get her to open her legs to me? And when you tell a man what you're looking for in a partner, you're giving him the script to play out. You're giving him the character. You're telling him exactly who he needs to be, which is why a lot of you end up in relationships with men where you say, well, in the beginning, he was all of these things. He did all of the right things. He said all of the right things. He brought me the gifts and he provided and he planned the dates and he did this and he did that. And then all of a sudden, after we got married or I got pregnant, or even just in some cases, 3 months in, 4 months in, 5 months in, after you've been intimate with them or you've had your first rupture or conflict in the relationship, then all of a sudden the mask drops and you don't even know who this person is. You're looking at him like he's a stranger. And the reason why you're looking at him like he's a stranger is because he's a stranger. He hasn't actually been who he truly is. He's been playing out the role that you outlined for him. And now you are surprised and feel betrayed, and you feel disgusted, and you feel like you feel crazy because you thought that you had found the right person for you. You thought that you had found the dream man. You thought that you had found Mr. Right, but really he was just playing a role. And so what you should be doing when you're engaging with the man in these early stages, especially if he asks you what you're looking for in a relationship, let him know that you are here to just explore. You're here to explore and to get to know people, and you want to see who people are just based off of how you guys get to interact with each other. Let him know that whoever this person is, whoever Mr. Right is, whoever, especially if you're looking for a husband or a long-term commitment, let him know that you will know what it is when you see it. You don't need to tell him who he needs to be or how he needs to show up in the relationship. You just let him know, I'm going to know when I see it. And that is going to put the ball back in his court, the responsibility back on him to show you who he is, so that you can make a well-informed decision about whether or not you want to move forward in that relationship. So by you putting the onus back on him to simply show up and be truthful about who he is, and not give him a script to play out or a role to play or a narrative to follow, you're going to get the most honest you're going to get the most honest expression of who this person is. And sometimes men will be a little bit pushy. They'll say, oh, come on, let me know who, like, show me, like, tell me what it is that you want, or, what is it that you're looking for? The reason why they're pushing for that is because they want you to tell them who they need to be. And your job is to hold your standards, hold firm, and keep your opinions about what it is that you're looking for and your desires of what it is that you're looking for close to your chest, so that you're not inadvertently playing your hand and telling this person who actually means ill towards you exactly who he needs to be in order for him to access the most deep, intimate parts of who you are. So the second thing that I want you to practice as a guideline when you are engaging in dating men, especially in the earliest stages of getting to know a man, is, and this is a mistake that a lot of women make, never tell the man that you're dating the ways in which previous partners have mistreated you. Never tell the man that you're dating about the ways in which previous partners have mistreated you. A lot of women will go into relationships, especially after a couple of dates, when you're starting to really feel him and things are getting a little bit more serious, or you're feeling really attracted, or you're starting to think, oh my gosh, this guy might be the one. You want to tell him about some of the things that you've gone through because you want him to empathize with you. You want him to understand what it is that you've gone through, to make sure that he doesn't display or express those same behaviors. So maybe you've dated a narcissistic abuser in the past. Maybe you dated a guy that put his hands on you. Maybe you dated a guy that was financially abusive or was just a bum who didn't have a job and used you for things. Whatever the case is, by you letting him know, what you're essentially telling him is what you have tolerated in the past. And this is what most men are hearing when they hear about the things that you've gone through or have experienced in previous relationships. They're hearing, oh, well, she will tolerate cheating. She will tolerate me lying to her. She will tolerate me putting my hands on her. She'll tolerate me, not checking in when I say I'm going to check in or not keeping my word. This is what men are hearing when they hear you talk about the things that you've gone through with your exes. They're not thinking, oh, wow, that's awful and I want to be better than that. They're thinking, oh, he got away with this thing, so I can get away with this thing as well. Men who are not connected to their heart, men who are not leading from integrity, men who are just seeing a woman as a resource to be used, you have to recognize that they are competitive with other men. And so if they have discovered through interacting with you, dating you, being around you, things that you've allowed other men to get away with, a lot of these men will actually feel offended or will feel slighted if you don't allow them to get away with the same exact behaviors. So it's not about them treating you better or treating you worse. It's about them being in competition with this man from your past that they want to be able to exhibit and express the exact same behaviors that you let him get away with. They feel it's unfair that they have to treat you better than the last guy did, or they have to do more for you than the last guy did. This is one of the reasons why, and this is a really popular example of, someone who's gotten a lot of backlash in media and celebrity culture is Ciara, the singer, who used to date the rapper Future and is now married to Russell Wilson, who is, I don't know if he's still in the NFL. I don't follow the NFL like that, but you guys know what I'm talking about. So when Ciara first started dating Russell Wilson, she was getting a lot of backlash from men, like men in the manosphere and in the red pill community, isn't just like regular, degular misogynist men, which is most men, honestly. They were really ragging on her and also ragging on Russell Wilson, calling him a simp and just saying a lot of really negative things about him. It's like, how dare you elevate yourself? How dare you want more? Because what she experienced with Future, becoming a baby mama, being a single mom, and being mistreated by him, a lot of men don't think that women are allowed to elevate themselves or rise above the previous experiences that they've had with men. So because she allowed Future to degrade her by making her a single mother, how dare you want more from the next person, which is why they call Russell Wilson a simp. And so these men, they don't, when you're telling them about the things that you've gone through in the past, especially in the early stages when you don't know them, what you're essentially telling him is what other men have been able to get away with. And so you're not here to tell men about all of the terrible things that have happened to you in the past. You, as far as he is concerned, every man that you have ever dated has treated you like a goddess. Every man that you have ever dated has provided for you, has brought you gifts, has supported you, has loved on you, has been affectionate with you, has made sweet love to you. Every man that you have ever been with has treated you like a queen, has treated you like a goddess, because you are letting him know what your standards are for how you are to be treated, the respect level that you require, the type of courtship that you require, which is not related to the past experiences that you've had. It's about who you are becoming as a woman and what you are now requiring from this moment forward. But when you tell a man about all of the ways in which a man mistreated you, you were already setting the bar low. And for most men who are not here to have your best interests at heart, they are going to want to only do the bare minimum that the last guy got away with. And so just once again, never, ever, ever tell a man about the way in which a man has previously mistreated you. As far as he is concerned, every man that came before you has treated you like a goddess. Now, the third guideline that I'm offering you that is going to, because like I said at the beginning, no matter how much discernment we have, no matter how high our standards are, no matter how attuned we think we are to men, men are going to men. Men are going to do things. Men are going to, and again, I'm speaking generally. I'm not trying to, I'm not speaking to high quality men or men who are highly attuned and who are spiritually grounded and heart centered. I'm talking about the average men. And so when you're in relationships, things are going to happen. Sometimes men will flip a switch. Sometimes men will, change after an illness or you have a baby, or so many factors can contribute to shifts in the dynamic of your relationship. And so this third guideline is for you to never, ever, ever be afraid to walk away. Never, ever, ever be afraid to walk away from that relationship. I don't care if you've been dating for 2 weeks or 2 years or 2 decades. I don't care if you have 5 children, if you're currently 41 weeks pregnant and 17 days. No matter what is happening in your life, no matter where you are in the circumstances of that relationship, never be afraid to walk away. Because what happens with a lot of women is they get trapped in what's called the sunken cost fallacy. And the sunken cost fallacy is the fallacy of thinking that because you've invested a certain amount of time or a certain amount of energy, a certain amount of sweat equity into something, that you must continue doing that thing. And this is how women end up 5 children deep, 2 decades deep into a relationship, having been abused, mistreated, or constantly yearning for, the very beginning of that relationship when they were seeing the facade that this person was putting on. And they are still in a relationship that is draining them and siphoning from them and making them even more disconnected from themselves. This is how women end up in these circumstances. It's because of the sunken cost fallacy. So no matter where you are in that relationship, when he starts showing up differently, when he starts mistreating you, when he starts abusing you or not holding up his end of the bargain, if he's not handling his end of childcare or domestic labor or whatever the case is, when he stops being who he is supposed to be in order to have access to the goddess that is you, you need to be willing to walk away, cut the cord, and remove yourself from those circumstances. Too many women are staying stuck in relationships that are not doing them any level of service, that are not raising or elevating them spiritually or status wise or any of the things that you might care about, because you're too afraid of being alone. You're too afraid of starting over. You're too afraid that another man isn't going to want you, which is absolutely insane. The way in which so many women have been gaslit by their male partners that another man isn't going to want them because they've had children or their body has changed, or whatever the case is, whatever that man is telling you to keep you present in his life so that he continues to have access to you as a resource. You cannot let those things hold you back from being able to start fresh, to wipe the slate clean and begin again. And so being unafraid to walk away, and also making sure that he knows that you're not afraid to walk away from anything that isn't serving you, is only going to serve you in that relationship. It's going to keep him on his toes. It's going to keep him connected to you. It's going to keep him in the chase of it all, where he knows that he has to constantly prove himself and prove his worthiness in order to have access to you. When you are with a man who doesn't feel like he has to earn you, when you're with a man who feels like he can treat you any kind of way or talk to you any kind of way or do really anything to you, regardless of whether or not it is respectful or loving to you, when a man feels like that, he's not going to respect you and he's not going to value you. A man recognizing on a deep, deep, deep cellular level that you are not a done deal for him, that you are someone who is always elevating yourself, who is always striving for more, who can always do better, that is going to keep him in a space where he is going to show up in a way that makes sure that he's keeping you happy, that he is keeping you provided for, that he is keeping you in a state where you want to be in relationship with him. And so, these 3 guidelines, like I said, of never telling a man what you're looking for in a partner, not telling him about the ways in which men might have mistreated you in the past, and always being willing to walk away. These are 3 of the most important guidelines that are going to protect you from narcissists, because a narcissist is dependent upon the illusion. He's dependent upon the perception that he creates. And if he doesn't know what it is that you are looking for, or what you require in that relationship, especially when it comes to the specifics of personality and how he shows up, that he's not going to be able to fake the funk with you. He's not going to be able to put on airs or wear a mask for you that down the line, now that you're emotionally invested, it's harder for you to walk away from. By not telling a man about the ways in which men have mistreated you in the past, he's not going to be measuring his behavior based upon the bare minimum, or at worst, the mistreatment and abuse that other men have, um, words have directed towards you. And then finally, being unafraid to walk away is going to be the thing that seals the deal, because it's going to keep him on his toes. It's going to keep him in that state of wanting to keep you happy and always elevating himself so that he can help elevate you. Or at worst, he knows that he can't be an asshole to you because you are going to walk away. And so even if you do end up attracting a narcissist or an abuser or someone who is just seeing you as a resource, your willingness to walk away from anything that is not aligned, that is not serving you, is going to prevent you from being stuck in these long-term relationships where 5 years, 10 years, 15 years of your life have passed by. You don't recognize yourself. You don't know who you are. Your self-esteem has been completely eradicated, all because you were afraid of being alone. So I would love to hear down in the comments how these 3 guidelines have landed for you. And if you want to dive deeper into this work, I have some really beautiful offerings that I can teach you. I have a masterclass called Selfish Bitch, which helps you understand more about male nature. It helps you understand the power of the sexual energy exchange and what's actually happening when you're engaging in that sexual energy exchange with a man, why men are so drawn to you sexually and want to be inside of you. And most importantly, it teaches you who and what the woman is on a spiritual and metaphysical level. Because a lot of women understand what a woman is biologically speaking. We understand some of the physiological processes that our bodies go through and how we are born, but we don't understand spiritually who the woman is. And my class, Selfish Bitch, teaches you all of these things so that you are not going to end up in relationships where you are being mistreated and siphoned from. I've helped women heal from pick-meism. I've helped women leave abusive relationships. I've helped women, really recognize their worth and their value and raise their standards in the ways in which they are meant to be treated in relationships with men. And so if you're interested in that, I'm going to drop the link to that class in the comments below. But I want to hear how this landed for you. Are these some guidelines that you're already following in your day-to-day life? Have these guidelines helped you? Is this your first time hearing these guidelines and it's kind of like blowing your mind? Oh my gosh, I never even knew this about men, or I never even thought that, by telling him everything that I want in a partner, that I'm giving him the blueprint on how to completely blindside me. Let me know in the comments how this landed for you. And then let me know if there are any questions that you have, or what other videos that you would like to see around these types of topics, especially as it relates to dating and relationships with men. But thank you so much for being here and for listening and for engaging. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. Let the algorithm know that you love this video and that you want to see more of this. And I will be back with more in the next video.